My name is Lorraine Whitaker, and for most of my life, I believed love could fix anything. I believed it when I worked long shifts at the diner to afford braces for my son. I believed it as I sewed his Halloween costumes by hand and clapped for him at every school play. And I still believed it, even as I sat across from him at the kitchen table, listening to him say I wasn't welcome at his wedding. Nathan Whitaker, my only child. I raised him alone after his father left. He showed up that day looking sharp, wearing cologne that didn't suit him. He didn't touch the tea I made or the almond cookies he once adored. He just sat stiffly and said, like it was doing me a favor, "I think it's better if you don't come to the wedding." No hesitation, no emotion, just words rehearsed from a script I didn't belong in. I didn't cry, I only looked at him, the boy I once rocked to sleep, and wondered when he stopped being my son. What Nathan didn't know, and what his fiancée, Sierra, never cared to ask, was that I was dying. The scarf on my head wasn't a fashion choice. But I was still his mother, and I was keeping a secret. That day, I let them smile and celebrate. And then, I took everything back. I wasn't always this fragile woman in soft sweaters. I was once young, fierce, and strong enough to raise a boy alone in a house that leaked when it rained. Nathan never knew the roof leaked. I fixed it before he came home. He never knew we had no power for 3 days. I lit candles and made it an adventure. After his father, Gregory, left, I worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat. Day shifts at the library, nights bussing tables. My body ached, but Nathan never saw me break. I saved every extra penny, skipped luxuries, reused everything, and quietly invested in small things, a salon partnership, rental properties, a modest retirement account. It was all for Nathan, so he'd never have to live the way I did. I even wrote my will early. Everything had his name on it, the house, the bank accounts, the pearls he gave me when he was 12. I kept them in a velvet box labeled, "For Nathan's Bride." I dreamed he'd find it one day and understand. But dreams are delicate things. And mine shattered the moment he said, "Sierra and I are going for a modern, curated look, and your condition doesn't fit." It didn't hurt. It cleared everything up. Nathan never really saw me. And if he couldn't now, he never would. So I stopped giving. 15 minutes later, Sierra walked into my home like she owned it. No knock, no warmth. Just judgment in her eyes as she looked around. "So this is where you live," she said. "It's quaint." Nathan said nothing. He let her pick apart my life, piece by piece. I stood there wearing the blouse he once loved, the earrings he gave me for Mother's Day. I thought maybe those memories would reach him. But Sierra glanced at me and said, "We finalized the seating chart. I'm sure you understand, it's about the vibe." Nathan looked away. The scarf, the cough, it might upset some guests. That was the truth. Not about illness. About image. "I just want to see my son get married," I said softly. "I'll sit in the back." No attention. Sierra smiled, cold, dismissive. "We can FaceTime you in." FaceTime, for the woman who raised him. I nodded, not in agreement, but in understanding. This wasn't my son. This was a stranger, repeating the voice of a woman who saw me as a burden. Then came the final blow. "This is why Dad left you," Nathan said. Calm, sharp, merciless. Not a jab, a conclusion. He hadn't just cut me from his wedding. He had cut me from his heart. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I simply stared at the tea I had made, still warm. The cookies, untouched. Then I whispered to no one but myself, "Thank you for showing me who you really are." And something shifted inside me. Not into rage, but into resolve. That night, I didn't weep. I didn't crumble like I might have once. I sat at the edge of my bed in my faded flannel robe, the same one Nathan used to tease me about in high school because of its missing buttons. The house was quiet. Only the tick of the clock and the low hum of the fridge filled the silence. I didn't take off my scarf. It felt like the only thing still holding me together. Before dawn, I rose. Went to the hallway closet, where an old metal filing cabinet sat beneath my winter coats. It hadn't been opened in years. I knelt slowly, bone stiff from treatment, and pulled open the drawer labeled Final. Inside, my will. Insurance documents. Deeds to 3 rental properties. Bank statements with balances Nathan never knew existed. Everything I had ever saved, earned, or built. All earmarked for Nathan Whitaker. My only child. My only heir. Until that moment. I reached into my nightstand and pulled out a gold letter opener, engraved with LW, a graduation gift from Nathan himself. I had treasured it once. Now, I used it to slice my will into quarters. Then eighths. When I was done, I felt lighter. Like I had opened a window in a room I didn't realize was suffocating me. Later that morning, I called Vivian Clark, my oldest friend, and my lawyer. We'd sung together in the church choir at 19. Watched each other survive heartbreak, bury parents, and rebuild. She picked up after 2 rings. "Lorraine," she asked, groggy. "You okay?" "No," I said. "But I will be. I need you to come over. I'm rewriting my will." A pause. "This about Nathan?" "Yes. He told me not to come to the wedding. Said I'd ruin the aesthetic." Vivian went quiet. I could hear the anger solidify in her silence. "And Sierra," I added. She suggested long-term care. "Somewhere quiet. Clean. Out of the way." "She means a nursing home," Vivian said bluntly. "She does," I replied. I drew in a breath. "I'm not dying today," I said. "Today, I'm taking back what's mine." 4 days before the wedding, an invitation arrived. Not from Nathan. From Bethany, my cousin in Atlanta. The unofficial family mediator. Inside, a glossy photo of Nathan and Sierra, draped in roses and perfection. The card read, "We would love for you to join us in celebrating the union of Nathan Whitaker and Sierra Monroe. Quietly, of course. Please sit in the designated family section and respect the couple's wishes." It wasn't an invitation. It was an instruction to stay invisible. But I accepted. Not for them, for me. On the morning of the wedding, I dressed carefully. A soft gray suit I'd once worn on Easter. A navy scarf threaded with silver. And a small dove brooch, my mother's, from the day I graduated nursing school. My body felt fragile. But my spine was steady. Vivian arrived exactly on time, sharp in her navy pantsuit, briefcase in hand. "You sure about this?" she asked. "I'm not here for revenge," I said. "Just closure. And I want him to see it, before it's too late." We drove in silence. The vineyard was stunning. White canopies. Ribbons on chairs. A quartet playing Vivaldi. Everything looked perfect. Except the love. I took my seat in the 3rd row, as instructed. No one noticed me, just another old woman in a scarf. The ceremony began. Nathan walked down the aisle, confident. Sierra followed, elegant, camera-ready. The officiant spoke of love, gratitude, and honoring those who raised us. Nathan didn't turn around. They exchanged vows. Rings. A kiss. The crowd clapped. I did not. As the guests made their way to the reception tent, I nodded to Vivian. She stood, approached the couple, and handed each of them an envelope. Then returned without a word. "Done," she said. I rose slowly, leaning on my cane. Across the vineyard, I watched Nathan tear open the envelope. Watched his face shift from confusion, to disbelief, to dread. He flipped through the documents. The revised will. The signed transfer papers. The donation receipts. Everything he was supposed to inherit, gone. Given elsewhere. To causes that mattered. To people who saw me. Our eyes met. And I didn't smile. I turned and walked away. Let him have his perfect wedding photo. Everything after that? It belonged to me. They thought I died. And for a while, I let them. A week after the wedding, an obituary ran in the Charleston Gazette, just as I'd asked Vivian to write it. Simple, no photo. A quiet notice announcing the passing of Lorraine Whitaker, retired nurse, survived by no immediate family. There was no funeral. No flowers. No calls from Nathan. None from Sierra. 2 days after the wedding, I slipped out of Charleston with nothing but a leather handbag, my passport, and a single letter left on Vivian's kitchen counter. It read, "It's done, thank you, don't follow me." I boarded a flight under a name I hadn't used in decades, Elaine Matthews, my grandmother's maiden name. I landed in San Mira, a sleepy village on Spain's southern coast where the sea smells like salt and oranges, and time drifts instead of ticks. I rented a small white cottage with blue shutters and a sun-warmed courtyard. Now, I grow mint, basil, and lavender. In the afternoons, I sit on a stone bench wrapped in a wool blanket, sipping tea while birds argue over crumbs. Here, I'm just Ellie, the woman with the kind eyes and quiet smile. I nod to the baker. I bring herbs to the flower vendor every Tuesday. No one knows what I left behind. No one asks. They don't know about the son who erased me. Or the money I gave away. And I like it that way. Back home, things are unraveling. Vivian writes once a month with updates I never request. Nathan tried to contest the will. He failed. The Rosa Hill Foundation renamed their main shelter Whitaker Hall, after someone posted a photo of me, standing beside the women I chose to help. The caption read, "She gave us everything her family threw away. I never wanted attention. But if my story helps just one forgotten woman remember her worth, then maybe disappearing wasn't the end. Maybe it was the beginning." Here in San Mira, I'm not dying. I'm blooming, quietly, freely, and far from anyone who ever asked me to shrink to make space for their shine. Some mornings, I wake and wonder if it was all just a dream. Did he really say I was too unsightly for his wedding? Did he truly look me in the eye and choose aesthetics over love? Then I see the scarf, the same one I left on the third-row seat at his ceremony, folded neatly over the back of my kitchen chair, like a signature. And I remember. Yes. It all happened. They thought I was gone. They toasted me in half-hearted speeches, praised me posthumously, moved on, until they realized I had written the final chapter. And I hadn't given them a single line. Nathan never got to say sorry. And I never needed him to. I didn't build a legacy for thanks. I built it because women like me are too often erased, pushed aside, edited out of their own stories. I wanted mine to end differently. So now, I live in peace. I walk to the market on Tuesdays. I buy fresh bread and white lilies. I sit beneath a lemon tree and hum old church songs only I remember. And sometimes, just sometimes, I smile. Because my silence said more than my presence ever could. And that scarf they left behind? Let it stay folded. Let it whisper in every quiet room. She was here. She saw everything. And then, she chose herself. And to every woman who's listening, if they ever try to erase you, make sure your absence echoes louder than their rejection ever could.